So, we're gonna go all the way. And now we finished because we're a minute, so I had to erase a little bit. Having had to erase a little bit, I'm gonna go west. Again, going west. Monday, 10th of February. I didn't have enough time on that to continue because I forgot to erase some of my own memories. So this is part 1 of surviving COVID 5 years ago, marking 10th of February, celebrating 40, celebrating, you know, celebrating the victory over COVID. And I died during COVID. Nothing that I want to go back to. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Grateful, thankful, my electricity bill's paid. Got food and coffee. Got some food at home. Got some hava. Got some tea. Got some juice. And I got to send some LOV to the firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, grocery store clerks, all involved in the production and the distribution of food. And that's where it is now, the top there. You can see the Mount Royal, the top. That's where we are, your Mount Royal, that's Westmount. You can see how it goes up. That's sometimes we're there, pointing here, which is miles and kilometers away anyways. We're finishing discussing the DRT theory, and we're gonna pick up with a discussion of the DRT, the debt refusion theory, right in this part 2 of this February 10th. Towards the sunset, going back to my headquarters, and that's what it is with that, and that's what it is with that guest, XYZ, and we gotta be on the gratitude side, because gratitude is great for mental health, and encouraging all to work out, train, exercise, and working out, training, exercising has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice, is something that we must encourage each other and myself on a fitness journey since 2017 when I crossed Canada coast to coast, and that event made me establish a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians. And in August went to Vancouver, BC, and then September came, and September came. I went back to Montreal and went to Halifax. So 2017, that's when I being cross Canada coast to coast, and that's when I came out of being depressed and suicidal, So ever since then, I've been on a fitness journey, and that fitness journey continues. And on that fitness journey being continuance, is something which I gotta be on the propositional side, and something which we gotta be on the proposition to go with it, and to get on the exclamation point, and to get on the no, and to get on the LOV, because it's something which we gotta be mindful of, So this is my family here, Quebecers, Canadians, and I'm a mystic. I got Asperger's and androgynous pansexual, and call all to the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. Call all to the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. Call all to the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Friends with benefits only. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Friends with benefits only is the 24/7 rock and roll song. North Americans unite. The dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom is my dream for a public-private partnership and the collective North American civilizational complex. Security, defense, service only. Security, service, and defense. Rebirth, security, and defense only. Rebirth, security, service, and defense only. Rebirth, security, service, and defense only. Rebirth, security, service, and defense only. We gotta get that coast to coast, ocean to ocean, and that's what we gotta get doing. So it is what it is here, we gotta get on the do, and that's what we gotta get doing, So we gotta get on the do, So the DRT theory, debt refusion theory. DRT, debt refusion theory, as I explained in the first part, is the only solution, or something very similar to what's happening with the public finances. Why do I make that statement? But the fact is that yesterday, and the previous days, we paid in 2024 46.5 billion in interest. 46.5 billion in interest. 46.5 billion in interest. So being 46.5 billion in interest, which we paid, of course, they get it to pay from 2021, 20.3 billion, more than double to 40.6. So 20.3 billion times 2 is 40.6. 20.3 times 2 is 40.6. 20.3 times 2 is 40.6. Right? That's what it is. So due to the fact that we now pay we paid already 46.5 billion in interest. That's just the interest. So if you make the calculation, mathematical financial calculation of the interest only on the public debt, it is more than double. So in 3 years, yes, due to COVID, the programs, protocols implemented due to COVID had made it such that the interest payments have more than doubled in 3 years. So that's what it is with that, and that's what it is with the XYZ. So that's just the mathematical primary function of mathematics, and in this financial case, it is the fact that it has more than doubled, just the interest again on the public debt. So it went from 20.3 billion to 46.5 billion, 46.5 billion, and that's what it is. So that's the fact that it more than doubled. More than doubled, you know. That is the fact that it more than doubled in principium. So keep that interjection in mind, and keep that appellation and verbatim to say that it has more than doubled. So that is what you have to do to reduce the spending, right? Because just like in a financial situation of an individual, a citizen, myself, I got $10,000 in debt to the Royal Bank of Canada. Myself got $10,000 in debt to the Royal Bank of Canada. Myself got $10,000 in debt to the Royal Bank of Canada. That's what we gotta interject with that. The fact that we pay 46.5 billion, 46.5 billion, 46.5 billion, you know, 46.5 billion. That's how much we had. The fact that it has more than double. So that's just the financial principle, you know. 46.5 billion is the amount we paid last year. So you went from 20.3 billion. 20.3 billion, 20.3 billion. That would double would have been 40.6. So it's even more than double to 46.5. So imagine that number, just as the same principle applies for the principle on the interest payment on the principle on the public debt applies to the individual citizen. Just if somebody is debt, XYZ, and citizen, man, woman, whatever, black, whatever the case may be, the same principle would apply. If the interest payments only on somebody's interest payments, I don't have credit cards, I have a credit loan to the RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, $10,000 in debt. I am $10,000 in debt. My interest payments is below 11 now because of TIF, Bank of Canada governor, and Tiff Macklem, who, and the other governors of Bank of Canada who reduced it, you know, who reduced the numbers. So that makes it, of course, that we are paying less, because it goes hand in hand with the Bank of Canada's fiscal regulations and interest regulations. So the principle is that it cannot be sustained, right? Because if the interest double, so if your interest payments only double, if they double, then without somebody's not just you or me or somebody else, it could be anybody. This is just financial mathematical principle. So if the interest payments double while the salaries don't double, you have to reduce the budget because the interest of the payment. So that's basically where the problem on the debt comes, right? The debt itself is not a negative to have credit or debt. It's just the interest paid on the debt, you know, just the interest paid on the debt. That's where the problem lies, the interest on the public debt. Because credit and debt is not bad. Creating money, creation, and money is itself a tool to use, right? It has a function. So it is the interest that can be problematic. So that's where we are now. So in 2020, 2021, we paid 20.3 billion. 20.3 billion times 2, that's 40.6. So it more than doubled to 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion, right? You gotta give a salutation to those who do all of the work. Anyways, so the fact that it has more than doubled that's what it is, and it's something which we gotta do, you know. So the fact that it has more than double, you know, the fact that the interest payment is more than double, that's unsustainable. So automatically one has to reduce the spending, right? It's just the principle, because the salaries did not double. So if the salaries don't double while your interest payments double, interest payments double. So the interest payments doubling, automatically you have to reduce while the salary only increases, because only the salary average has increased 4.4% over the past 5 years. 4.4% is far from is far from double, right? Double would have been 100% increase to double, but the interest payments doubled. So that is the whole problematic, where the problem lies here. So what we have to do is implement my theory, the DRT theory, or something similar. Because again, there's no other way, or something very similar to my DRT theory, debt refusion theory, has to be implemented in concordium. Because again, just the interest payments both on the public debt has gone from 20.3 billion to 46.5. Yes, due to COVID, the program is implemented due to COVID, mostly. So that is just a mathematical financial principium. So the DRT theory, debt refusion theory, explained fully and with less fancy academic scholarly linguistic verbosities as possible, because there's a tendency for me to pronounce Aspies, you know, who are neurodivergent, to utilize too much verbose academic language and vernacular, which is not proponent for the explanation at hand, and which leaves us to be on the mark for more confusion rather than simplification. It's a characteristic of people who are neurodivergent, who have Asperger's, who are living on the spectrum of autism, who we have our faults, myself am mediocre, average, and so certain things, especially in the dynamics of certain equations of the dynamics, you know. So that's all we gotta be doing, and just gotta take a look at the smiley face there. So just at those dynamics, I have to be aware and to work on the characteristics, to always build bridges between myself as a minority, neurotypical, and neurodivergent, meaning myself as a neurodivergent, and neurotypicals who otherwise function in the normative percentile of the population, which is not neurodivergent, you know. So that's what it is with that, and that's all we gotta find out for the XYZ. So for the XYZ. So that's something which we have to be aware. To be aware. And for me to build bridges constantly, and many aspects have to do. The point is that all the suffering, all the struggle, maintaining employment is a paradox, of course. That now the paradox is that I present on the table a solution to where we are, and it is the only solution, or something very similar to it, something which resembles, you know, something which resembles my theory has to be implemented, and very, very close. So my DRT theory, I'm going to explain it now and again, due to the fact that we pay more than double on the public debt. The public debt servicing has doubled, more than doubled, from 20.3 billion, a billion is 1,000 million. Keep that in mind, that 20.3 billion is 20,000 million. So from 20.3 to 46.5. 46.5. 46.5. 46.5. 46.5. 46.5. 46.5. So the fact that it has more than doubled, that's the point. financial mathematical principle. The interest paid on the public debt has more than doubled in 3 years. Consequently, as an individual citizen, consumer, citizen XYZ, me or somebody else, if our interest payments also would have doubled in 3 years, or more than doubled, let's say from 156 to 333, let's say from $156 to 333, for argument's sake, from 156 to $333. If that is the case, that means that we would have to reduce the costs. We would have to reduce the costs. We would have to reduce the costs. The costs. The costs, the costs. The budget, what we spend. The average salary increase over the past 5 years is 4.4. 4.4, there has been labor movements, and of course labor movements which had implemented strikes, and some gain on the labor. But it's average 4.4. How many salaries that doubled? Not many, if any. Not many, if any, not many, if any. Yeah, that's it. There's the principle. Because otherwise it has to double to maintain the same expenses lifestyle. To maintain the same spaces lifestyle, have to double. Maintain the same spaces and lifestyle, it has to be doubled. Right? While it hasn't. It has not. 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 So that is just the point convergence. So the DRT theory stands for debt refusion theory. Something similar is the only solution, again, to the fact that the interest payments, only the interest payments, have doubled on the public debt to Canada. And not to be alarmist, but there's a possibility of a black swan event. It could be tomorrow, morning, afternoon, after 3 p.m. Black swan event. Public financial collapse of Canada. Financial public collapse of Canada. Financial public collapse of Canada. Public financial collapse is possible. Possible. It's a possibility to do that. In fact, hey, maybe tomorrow it starts February 11th, February 17th, 18th, 20th, March 1st. So, my DRT theory is the only solution or something similar. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, my debt, your debt, our debt. So my $10,000, your $10,000, whatever your debt is, plus my debt, all the debt coast to coast, ocean to ocean, all that money we're going to convert it into US dollars, because the United States dollar still is the top currency. Canada first, but my DRT theory also includes monetary integration theory, by the way. Monetary integration theory is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union via and by the creation of the universal exchange unit, via and by the creation of the universal exchange unit, via and by the creation of the universal exchange unit. So that is just mathematical principium. So the DRT, my debt refusion theory, contains monetary integration theory, contains monetary integration theory, contains monetary integration theory, contains monetary integration theory. Contains monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory, which is the European Union's implementation of that theory, which is included in mine, which the Germans, they destroyed their national central bank, the Italians, their lira, the French, their franc, and they created a new currency called the euro. So my debt refusion theory includes monetary integration theory, which is that financial theory, which was implemented in the European Union decades ago. They do not, Germany, France, Italy, they destroyed their national central banks, eh? They destroyed their national central banks. They no longer have a national central bank. They have a common 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 bank, They have a common bank. So, having a common bank, a common bank, having a common bank, having a common bank of many countries, a supranational financial banking institution. They no longer have central banks. So central banks are left behind, right? They're destroyed right now, along with their currency. So important to note that my DRT theory includes monetary integration theory. So I'm going to explain it now. We're going to take all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, my 10,000 to the RBC included, your debt, our debt, my debt, coast to coast, converted into US dollar, preferably Canada first, but preferably by preference, simultaneously, binational, just like the establishment of the NHL and the PVHL and the NBA. They're not national really, they're binational, right? So they're not really national, they're binational really. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, my $10,000, your $10,000, we're gonna convert it to US dollars. We're gonna convert it to US dollars. We're gonna convert it US dollars. All that debt, public and private debt, including my $10,000, is gonna be the initial money supply for a new central bank in North America. Be extended with Mexico, Haiti, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Cuba as a paradox, but Jamaica and other countries are part of the North American complex, and it could be extended actually throughout the Americas, just like European Central Bank, establishing the euro. It could be extended. So that's what it is with that. So XYZ and yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. XYZ, and that's what we're gonna do with that, and that's what we're gonna do. The LOVE, with the LOVE and the financial mathematical principles. So all the public and the private debt, including my 10,000, converted Canadian public debt into US dollars. All that money, we're gonna be adding it up. So we're gonna have to be doing an addition, adding it up. So added all that, that's gonna be the initial money supply for a new central bank. And that money in the US value of the US dollar, we're gonna issue a new currency called the UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The universal exchange unit. The UE. The universal exchange unit. So we're going to establish the universal exchange unit, and we're going to establish the UE. The universal exchange unit. So the fact that we established the UE, the universal exchange unit, that's going to be something which we have to be implementing in, and we're going to have to be implemented on, and we're gonna have to be doing, on the love and on the do, and that's what it is with that, and we're gonna have to be implementing it ASAP. It's urgency. It's an emergency. Actually, it's an emergency. It's really an emergency. Relating. There's no other way out of this. Full moon's coming. So we're gonna create the UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. UE. The UE. Based on the value of the US dollar, we're gonna set an interest rate level of 10% max. It could be 3.33, 6.1, 9.3, 4.80, 7.18, below 10%. So all the money converted into US dollar, that's going to be the initial money supply. All the debt, public and private debt. So we're going to issue a new currency based on the value of the dollar called the UE. And with that money, we're going to rebuild the infrastructure of North America, mass finance citizens, fitness activity, mass finance tourism, build more hydroelectric dams. Here, Hydro-Quebec, go. Build those 44 tunnels, build 43, 44, before 45, after 43 is 44 tunnels, based of course on an array and inspired by the Cheyenne Mountain Complex and the Montreal Underground Village, the Montreal Underground Village, the Montreal Underground Village, the Montreal Underground Village, you know. That's what we need to be doing. That's what we need to be doing, you know. So that's what we need to be doing, you know. So that's why we gotta be on the exclamation points, and we gotta get on the LOV side to do it, because it's for the continuity of the North American civilizational complex. Canadians close to 40, are we 44 million? Close to 45 now? 45 million? I think we've surpassed 40 million 5 years ago, right? So with the record immigration, I think we're reaching 45 if we revise the numbers, right? From 2020 to 2025, now, let's say February 10th, today's February 10th, 2025. So my brothers and sisters in the USA, 340 million, and in Mexico, another 100 plus million. So we got a big population here for the collective North American civilization to salvage in case of a thermonuclear war. So with that money, we're going to be able to construct those tunnels, you know. Build those tunnels, the tunnels, in case of a thermonuclear war. Based on a theoretical paper, which I started writing about 7 years ago and revised in 2019 and during COVID. And supposedly now COVID is actually, it's been confirmed by the CIA that it was a lab leak. I don't know. My trinity is, I believe it was snakes, but I had it and I had survived it, and COVID was pretty hardcore for me. So having survived it, I believe it was snakes, but I cannot rule out another possibility. I don't know for sure. What I do know is that I had it, and of course I survived it. I was pretty mortal, and I thought I was gonna die. In many ways I did die, you know. So I'm gonna get it on the do, and I survived it with blood, sweat and tears, and I credit my survival to the goddess, which of course is the temple which I will to build, you know. So that's what I gotta go doing with that, and gotta give a little bit of LOV, you know, to the public workers, and we gotta get it on the do, you know. So it's something which I gotta be doing, you know, with that. So it's something which we gotta be doing on the love, man. Saluting, look at the athletes. Thank you, merci. Thank you, guys. Merci. Gotta give a little bit thank you to the workers, and we gotta get it on the LOV, and gotta get it on the love, and also always gotta give some LOV thanks, you know. They're athletes, please. NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, MLB. Give them some tickets, and that's what we gotta get doing with that. And we gotta get on for the public workers, man. Public sanitation, rock and roll. Give them some free tickets, Habs, and PVHL, Professional Women's Hockey League, and other sports. You know, more dancing is my favorite sport, but give them, finance them, billionaires, millionaires of Quebec, Canada, North America. All public workers of North America. Let's get that North American Collective Workers Party and the DRT, Debt Refusion Theory, and let's build those 44 tunnels. I'm gonna need workers like that, and I need your workers and my work, and I've got some brains and some muscle, have Asperger's, so I'm neurodivergent, and I do not like violence, but my protocol thesis was the privilege of civilization. The privilege of civilization was the privilege of civilization. So the privilege of civilization was, of course, that was the privilege of civilization, which we have here. See, Hydro-Quebec Go, that's where we got lights, public sanitation, they're athletes also. Let's go NFL, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB. Let's get a little bit of that. Let's get a little bit of that, you know. So let's get a little bit of that. You know. Gotta get it for the DRT, We gotta get it for the debt refusion theory, huh? Gotta get it for the DRT, the debt refusion theory, and the workers LOV. Gotta give them some LOV. Those who are Dragon Army, pledge your allegiance, friends with benefits only. Those are the ones we're gonna defend for. It's not all about Wall Street. We gotta create the DRT. It's not all about money, you know. the garbage collectors, the truckers, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the sanitation workers, and all involved in the production, distribution of food, and all those involved in the production, distribution of food, we gotta get a little bit of that encouragement, you know, and somebody make up some LOV tonight, you know. Oh, you wanna get that LOV? That I got it plenty. Rainbow Dragon got that rock and roll, you know. Rainbow Dragon got that rock and roll. Rainbow Dragon got that rock and roll. Aspie, androgynous, pansexual, LOV, get that 50-50, DRT, that refusion theories report the dream. The Democratic Republic. Democratic Republic. Democratic Republic of the North American Collective, pledge your allegiance. Legions, Quebec, Canadian, was born in the USA 3 times. Once as a man, once as a woman, once as a man, once as a woman, once as a man, once as a woman, you know. Different lives, different incarnations, served post 70-76 in the same US Army, 2 different wars. The wars were 156 years apart, the wars were 156 years apart, 156 years apart, the wars were, but same US Army, and gotta get that 21st century now, Dragon Army. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Only and strictly for defense, only. Strictly and only for defense. Strictly and only for defensive purposes. Defense security service principle. Defense security service principle. The defense security service principle. The defense security and service principle. That is the principle by which the Dragon Army was going to operate. And the DJ Dancing Goddess Army, the Dragon Army. Complementary covenant with the Dancing Goddess Army, the North American Integrated Dance League, North American Integrated Dance League, the North American Integrated Dance League, that DGA for environment, purpose, and pleasure. And here we in La Belle Province, you know, we made the great linguistic compromise, so I gotta rock and roll a little bit of that French, you know, because that's just how it is here, Quebec or Canadian, North American. Pledge your allegiance, legions, thou art family, friends with benefits only, pledge your allegiance, legions. Thou art family, friends with benefits only. Pledge your allegiance, legions. Friends with benefits only. Thou art family, friends with benefits only. Pledge your allegiance, legions. Thou art family, and that's what we gotta get doing. And I gotta be interjecting and being on the LOV side, you know, something which we gotta transmute, and we gotta get on that LOVE side, you know, and I just gotta do that rock and roll, you know, so it's something which I gotta do. It's something which I gotta be on the do, you know, so it's something which I gotta be doing, you know, so it's something which I gotta see and I gotta do, and something which I always gotta be on the more attentive side and the prudent side. So it's something which I gotta get doing, you know, so it's something which I gotta get the LOV, and somebody better make LOV tonight, you know, because it's not all about strength and money. It takes a lot of combinations. Somebody better make LOV tonight. Make good love into those public sanitation workers who pick up the garbage. Send them to me. I do some volunteering, give them a massage, you know. I would need one, but I'm going to take a bath. And the public workers, those picking up the sanitation, big garbage collectors across North America, they're athletes also, firefighters. They also deserve a spa massage treatment. Not only our athletes, LOV, let's go. French qui la belle province, bienvenue. Un petit latérite de votre dragon arc-en-ciel, je viens d'en discuter un peu sur la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Et bien sûr, je commence avec la gratitude. J'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé ma facture d'électricité, j'ai du capacité, puis toujours la gratitude pour la santé mentale, ça fait du bien. Mais même si en ce moment je vis un stress financier, ça fait que je vis ce stress financier, donc que c'est pas... C'est quand même quelque chose que je vis avec, mais comme je vis avec d'autres choses, c'est avec mes souffrances, le tronc, bien sûr, que j'ai survécu moi-même, puis c'est des choses qu'il faut que je fasse moi-même dans cette convergence où qu'on est rendu, tu sais, en faisant un compromis par la lune, en faisant du bon rock and roll,
Sur la lune, les Québécois et Québécoises, je vous encourage à danser le rock'n'roll, votre aspect artiste, athlète, philosophe qui chante du rock'n'roll, puis qui fait la géopolitique, puis qui fait de l'entraînement physique. Et bien sûr, c'est des choses que moi-même je dois faire dans cette convergence d'être différent, puis tu sais, j'aime pas la violence, je n'aime pas la violence, je suis intense, la vigueur, mais j'aime pas la violence, l'agression, tout ça, l'intensité, mais c'est faire la maîtrise, je peux faire la maîtrise, quand même, tu sais, je peux faire la maîtrise, tu sais, c'est des choses que moi-même, je peux faire voir du monde s'aimer, puis moi aussi j'ai besoin d'amour, puis ça vient avec bénéfice seulement, tu sais, des amis avec bénéfice seulement, comme je viens de voir, tantôt, tu sais, ils sont en train d'enlever les poubelles, tu sais, les travailleurs de la Civilisation publique. Je fais une méditation dans le concordium de la géopolitique, parce que bien sûr, c'est mon intérêt spécial, aussi connu comme obsessif, puis c'est dans cette norme d'entente, qu'on est rendu à faire des choses que on est rendu à faire des normes, des choses, du principe, bien sûr, qu'on soit fait dans les normes de la société, que nous, les aspis, les neurodivergents, il faut toujours qu'on bâtisse un certain pont avec les autres. En bâtissant un pont avec les autres, ça prend toujours un effort. Puis c'est toujours un effort qui requiert quand même de l'énergie, si je veux dire. Ça requiert quand même un effort qui peut être difficile pour ceux qui sont neurodivergents, sur l'autisme mouvement fonctionnel, les Asperger's, parce qu'on n'est pas si bon dans les compréhensions des normes sociales ou des enjeux, puis des normes non écrites de la société. Des fois, on a bien de la misère, moi-même aussi, avec ces choses-là, comme l'espace personnel, tu sais. On a tendance à briser ces choses-là, puis on a tendance à briser ces choses-là. C'est des choses qui sont dans ces normes, c'est conscient de ne pas avoir les mêmes caractéristiques que les neurotypiques. Fait qu'on est une petite minorité, puis les neurodivergents, mais on a quand même nos forces. Les intérêts spéciaux, aussi nommés comme obsessifs, mais c'est pas vraiment des obsessifs. C'est des intérêts que... C'est pas des intérêts des obsessifs, vraiment, parce que, tu sais, les obsessions, ça a plutôt une connotation, une terminologie plus dans le négatif. Car l'intérêt obsessif, c'est quand même un intérêt spécial. Puis moi-même, c'est la trinité, la géopolitique, l'entraînement physique, la danse, c'est mon entraînement physique que je préfère, et le sport aussi. Puis le rock'n'roll, c'est ça ma trinité, parce que la danse, le sport, l'entraînement physique, c'est la même chose pour moi-même, tu sais. C'est quand même une trinité. La géopolitique, l'entraînement physique, le sport, la danse. Le sport, l'entraînement physique, puis la danse, c'est la même chose dans le fond. C'est du conditionnement physique, l'entraînement physique, la danse. Pour moi, danser, c'est un sport. Puis le rock'n'roll. Puis des fois, je passe des heures, je rentre dans des transes de rock'n'roll, puis j'en compose des chansons du rock'n'roll, parce que c'est ça vraiment que je suis artiste aussi en tant qu'analyste philosophe. Puis justement, je viens de discuter de la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, puis encore une fois, c'est la seule et unique solution qui peut nous sauver d'où qu'on est rendu avec les finances publiques. Pourquoi je me prononce ainsi, mais puis pour discuter de la théorie de la refusion de la dette, parce que je l'ai discuté en anglais, puis encore une fois, c'est un paradoxe que cette théorie, ça sort de ma condition de neurodivergence, si je peux dire, mais c'est une bénédiction de cette malédiction. Il y a comme une bénédiction de cette malédiction. Ça veut dire que par cette malédiction, il y a une bénédiction, pas pour juste moi-même, mais pour le Québec, le Canada, puis même le collectif nord-américain. Parce que on constitue, les Québécois, Québécoises, les Canadiens, on constitue un collectif nord-américain, un collectif nord-américain, un collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. Fait qu'en faisant ces choses-là, tu sais, c'est des choses vraiment que on doit faire ensemble, pour faire un effort ensemble, pour faire cet effort constamment, tu sais, de cette neurodivergence pour bâtir des ponts. Mais, vous voyez, ça sort de cette neurodivergence, de l'autisme, l'homophonie, l'Asperger's, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, qui est la seule et unique solution, ou quelque chose de très semblable, pour nous sortir d'où qu'on est rendu avec les finances publiques, avec les finances publiques, avec les finances publiques. Avec les finances publiques, quand on paye, on a payé l'année passée en 2024. Juste vérifier le frigidaire parce que je vis un stress financier en ce moment. Fait que, c'est avoir un petit stress financier, ça m'aide toujours. Ben, ça m'aide toujours. Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? Eh ben. Ça m'aide toujours, ça. Ah ouais. Merci pour le don, je suis bien apprécié. Fait que la TRD, théorie de la refusion, théorie de la fusion, théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD. La TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est la seule et unique solution qui peut nous sauver d'où on est rendu maintenant avec les finances publiques, puis je vous l'explique. Fait qu'on va, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. La théorie d'intégration monétaire, c'est la théorie qu'ils ont fait l'implémentation, les Européens en Europe. Fait que les Allemands ont détruit leur banque centrale. Et bien fait, ils ont fait la destruction, les Allemands, les Français, les Italiens, ils ont fait de la destruction de leur banque centrale et ils ont fait de la création d'une monnaie commune. Oh shit. D'une monnaie commune. Fait que nous, on va faire pareil. On va faire... Ma TRD, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire, ce qui est la théorie que les Européens ont fait de l'implémentation dans les années 90. Fait qu'est-ce qu'ils ont fait en Europe? Ils ont pris toute la dette. Ils n'ont pas pris la dette, mais ils ont pris leur ancienne banque centrale et leur ancienne monnaie. Ils ont détruit leur banque centrale en Allemagne, en Italie, en France, bien des pays en Europe. Fait qu'eux autres, ils ont détruit leur banque centrale nationale les années 90. Puis ils ont fait de la création de l'euro. Fait que ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, TRD de votre dragon arc-en-ciel, contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire, ce qui est la théorie financière qui ont fait l'implémentation dans l'Europe. Parce qu'on n'a pas le choix de faire l'implémentation, parce que c'est urgent, puis c'est rendu qu'on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. 46,5 milliards en 2024. C'est 1 000 millions, ça, c'est 46 000. Ça a plus que doublé en 3 ans. C'est sûr, à cause de la COVID, puis moi-même ayant survécu la COVID, je l'ai eu, c'était comme la mort, la pestilence, tu sais. Je pensais que j'allais mourir. Je dis souvent, je suis mort en février 2020, puis je célèbre 5 ans aujourd'hui, puis hier, peut-être jusqu'au début de mars, là, je vais célébrer 1 mois quand même, de maintenant jusqu'en mars, m'avoir survécu la COVID. Je l'ai eu, c'était vraiment sévère, je pensais que j'allais mourir, mais je dis souvent, je suis mort en 2020, en février-mars, j'étais en train de renaître. Puis il n'y a rien que je vais retourner en arrière, donc c'est des choses qu'il faut que je fasse moi-même, puis... La TRD, je suis quand même fier de présenter ça, puis c'est quelque chose qui ressemble à ma TRD, qui est la seule et unique solution. C'est pas peut-être la seule et unique solution, mais quelque chose qui ressemble. Ça doit ressembler à ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Encore une fois, vu qu'on paye 46 000 milliards. 46 000 milliards. 46 000 milliards qu'on paye. 46 000 milliards. On paye. 46 000 milliards. 46 000 milliards qu'on paye. En 2020-2021, on paye 20,3 milliards. 20,3 milliards. Fait que si vous faites le calcul là, de 20,3 fois 2, c'est 40,6. 40,6. Fait que 40,6, là, 40,6, ça aurait été le double. Mais c'est 46,5. Fait que si vous faites le calcul, c'est plus que double. Fait qu'imaginez-vous dans une instance où un citoyenne, mettons que l'intérêt double, OK? L'intérêt double en 3 ans que vous payez. Moi-même, j'ai pas de carte de crédit, mais j'ai pas de carte de crédit moi-même. J'ai une dette à la Banque Royale. Fait que si l'intérêt est double, il faut couper à quelque part dans le budget. Fait que c'est exactement pareil. On s'approche peut-être d'un effondrement financier. Peut-être demain, le 11 février. Peut-être demain, le 11 février. Peut-être demain, le 11 février. Peut-être demain, le 11 février, c'est possible. Mais la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est assez une solution. Bon, on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée. On va faire la refusion dans la devise des États-Unis. Canada, préférence avec les États-Unis en même temps ensemble, préférence avec les États-Unis ensemble, préférence avec les États-Unis ensemble, préférence avec les États-Unis ensemble. On va faire la revision, puis on va faire, bien sûr, toute la dette publique-privée. On va fonctionner ensemble, on va mettre d'un point de vue de la refusion. On va la prendre ensemble, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, moi j'ai 10 000 $ à la Banque Royale. Tout cet argent-là, de côte à côte, avec les États-Unis, on va devoir convertir la dette publique-privée du Canada dans la devise des États-Unis, faire l'addition avec les États-Unis, établir une nouvelle banque nord-américaine centrale de l'Amérique du Nord ensemble. Puis on va faire la création d'une unité d'échange basée sur le dollar des États-Unis qui va s'appeler Louis. U.unité, E.échange, U.universel. U.unité, E.échange, U.universel. U.unité, E.échange, U.universel. L'unité d'échange universelle. L'unité d'échange universelle. L'unité d'échange universelle. Et bien sûr, dans cette comparaison de cette manière, on va faire la création de l'unité d'échange universelle, l'unité d'échange universelle, l'unité d'échange universelle. Et cette devise, on va faire la création de cette nouvelle devise qu'on va appeler Louis, unité d'échange universelle. Fait que Louis, unité d'échange universelle, on va mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10%, ça peut être 3,33, 7,18, 6,1, 4,18, 1,56. Fait qu'on va mettre tout ce taux d'intérêt ensemble. Puis avec cet argent-là, on va pouvoir rebâtir l'infrastructure du Québec, de l'Amérique, des États-Unis, de l'Amérique du Nord, bâtir plus de centrales déjà au Québec, financer les gens, faire de l'entraînement physique, financer les gens au tourisme, parce que moi, ça va sortir de la dépression. On va pouvoir financer, bâtir, construire 44 tunnels dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire ailleurs, hors du continent nord-américain, bâtir 44. Le chiffre après 43 avant 44, c'est 44 tunnels, dans le fond, pour la continuité du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire. Fait qu'on va pouvoir bâtir ça, on va pouvoir bâtir l'infrastructure, financer, fonder les 2 institutions de partenariat public-privé, l'armée du dragon, l'armée pour la sécurité, le service et la défense, l'armée de la déesse qui danse, l'armée de la déesse qui danse, l'armée de la déesse qui danse pour le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord pour la Renaissance, pour la Renaissance, puis pour la défense, puis pour l'environnement. Dans le cas où il y a une guerre thermonucléaire, puis avec cet argent-là, lui, c'est la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Pour la création de Louis, c'est le temps. Maintenant, c'est urgence. C'est possible que demain, un effondrement des finances publiques commence. De côte à côte, océan, pour la défense, la sécurité et le service seulement. Prêtez allégeance, les gens, vous êtes famille, les amis avec bénéfice seulement. Prêtez allégeance, les gens, vous êtes famille. Les amis avec bénéfice seulement, prêtez allégeance, les gens. Vous êtes famille, des amis avec bénéfice seulement. Et la vie, faites l'amour à soir, prêtez allégeance, les gens. Vous êtes famille.